Hello dear candidates, welcome again to Bio Classes Online. Today we are going to discuss some important terms used in the classical genetics. Dear candidates, if you have not subscribed my YouTube channel yet, do subscribe now and hit the bell icon so that you will remain updated with my channel, that is Bio Classes Online. Now without wasting the time, let's start. The first term is the character. What is a character? Any phenotypic property of an individual is called as a character. For example, the stem height of a plant, flower color, type of a hair, shape of the seeds, color of the pods, etc. They are all the characters. Now, the next term is the trait. Trait is an inherited character. As we know, the character, that is the stem height, exists in the two variants, that is tall or dwarf. These two variants, that is the tall or dwarf, are the traits of a character, that is the stem height. In the same way, the different colors of the flower are the traits of a character, that is the color of a flower. For example, the purple or white color of pea flower are the traits of a character, that is the color of a flower. In the same way, curly or straight hair are the traits of a character, that is the type of a hair. The next term is the unit factor. The term unit factor was used by Mendel and is the unit of inheritance. This unit factor controls a trait either singly in case of the haploid organisms or along with another factor of similar type in case of the diploid organisms. This unit factor was called gene by Johnson in 1909. Thus, this gene is the unit of inheritance and is carried from parent by means of a gametes. This gene occurs in the chromosome and controls the expression of a character either in cooperation with the other genes and the environment. So these genes are located in the chromosomes and are responsible for controlling the expression of a particular character in cooperation with the other gene and the environment. Chemically, this gene is the segment of DNA called as the cistron, So chemically, if we will see the the gene is the segment of DNA called as the cistron. This cistron has a particular function. Mainly, one cistron controls the production of one polypeptide. The next term used in the genetics is the alleles. These alleles are, the term allele was used by or given by the Bateson in 1905. And these alleles are the alternate forms of the same gene, or they are the forms of the same gene which are found at the same place or locus on the homologous chromosome and control a particular traits of a character. So we can say these alleles are the forms of the same gene which are found at the same place or the locus on a homologous chromosome and are responsible for controlling a particular traits of a character. For example, the character tallness, the character dwarfness, the trait tallness, the trait dwarfness are controlled by the alleles. The next term used in the genetics is the locus. As we know that the genes are present in the chromosomes and the particular or a fixed position or a place on the chromosome that is occupied by a gene or by a specific gene, by a given gene or one of its allele is called as the locus. So locus is the fixed position or place on the chromosome that is occupied by a given gene or one of its allele. Next term is dominant factor or dominant allele. Dominant factor or dominant allele is one of the pair of allele or one of the pair of the factor which can express itself whether present in the homozygous or heterozygous state. For example, the factor for tallness in hybrid and homozygous state are capital T, small t, capital T, capital T. So we can say here this capital T is the dominant allele or dominant factor because it can express itself in heterozygous condition, that is capital T, small t, and in the homozygous condition capital T, capital T. So in both cases, that is whether the genotype is capital T, small t, or capital T, capital T, in both the cases the capital T is able to express itself, and the plants in both the cases are the tall plants, but here they are the hybrid tall plants, here they are the pure tall plants or homozygous tall, and such an allele or such a factor is called as the dominant allele or dominant factor. Next is the recessive factor or recessive allele, and the factor of an allelic pair which is unable or which is not able to express in presence of its contrasting factor in the heterozygous is called as the recessive factor or allele. For example, the allele of small t in case of the hybrid tall plants. As we know, the hybrid tall plants have the genotype of capital T, small t. That is, this capital T is the dominant allele, while as the small t is the recessive allele, because this capital T is able to express itself in presence of the small t, but the small t is not able to express itself in presence of the capital T in the hybrid condition. The effect of this recessive factor becomes known only when it is present in the pure or homozygous state. The small t is able to express only when it is in the homozygous condition, that is when it is in the small t form. Only when the genotype is small t, the plants will be the dwarf. So this the small t is only able to express itself, or we can say this recessive allele is only able to express itself when it is in the homozygous or in the pure state, while as the dominant allele is able to express itself either in the homozygous condition or in the heterozygous condition. The next term is the wild and mutant allele. Wild allele is one of the alleles which was originally present in the population and is dominant and usually widespread. Mainly, the dominant allele which is thought to be originally present in a particular population and is usually widespread. This dominant allele is also called as the wild allele, while as the recessive allele is thought to be, or it is believed to be, formed through the mutation of the wild or the dominant allele. So this recessive allele is also called as the mutant allele. In simple terms, dominant allele is thought to be present in the population originally and is called the wild allele, while as the recessive allele is believed to be formed through the mutation of this dominant allele or the wild allele and is also called as the mutant allele. Next term is the homozygote. The term homozygote was introduced by Bateson and Saunders in 1902 and is an individual which contains an identical alleles of a gene or a factor of a character on its homologous chromosome. So those individuals which contain an identical alleles of a gene or factor of a character on its homologous chromosome are called as homozygotes. For example, pure tall plants are denoted by capital T, capital T. The plants having the genotype of capital T are the homozygotes. The plants, pure dwarf plants, capital T, small t are the homozygotes. And these homozygotes are, as you see here, that these are pure for a particular character and breed true. That is, they give rise the same offsprings on self-pollination. This tall plants, once they are pure tall plants, once they are allowed to go for the self-pollination, they will produce the tall plants. And if these pure dwarf plants are allowed to go for the self-pollination, they will produce the dwarf plants. These homozygotes can be homozygous dominant, such as capital T, capital T. These are the homozygous dominant, or homozygous recessive, such as the small t, small t. Next term is the heterozygote. The heterozygote term was again introduced by Bateson and Saunders in 1902, and are the individuals which contain two different alleles of a gene on its homologous chromosome. And you can see here that the hybrid tall plants having the genotype of capital T, small t, they are the heterozygotes because they do not possess the same or identical alleles. They possess the two different alleles of a gene, that is capital T and small t. So these heterozygotes are not pure and are also called as the hybrids, and they does not breed true on self-pollination. That is, they do not give the same type of the trait or same type of an offspring on self-pollination. Next term used in the classical genetics is the hybrid vigor or heterosis. The heterozygous organisms or heterozygotes produced after crossing two genetically different individuals are also called as the hybrids. So the organisms produced by means of crossing the two genetically different individuals are called as the hybrids. And these hybrids, the process of obtaining the hybrids is called as the hybridization. And this process of hybridization is mainly employed to improve the quality of economically important plants and animals, as it combines the useful traits of the different varieties, because the harmful effect of the recessive traits disappears as the dominant traits of all the characters of the parents often come together in the hybrid. So we can say in case of the hybridization, the useful traits come together, or we can say the dominant traits come together in the hybrid, while as the recessive traits disappear in the hybrid. As now the hybrid possesses the qualities better than either of the parent, so it is also called as the hybrid vigor or heterosis. So we can say hybrid vigor or heterosis is the hybridization, or it is the process, or it is the phenomenon by which the two genetically different individuals are crossed to form an hybrid having the qualities better than either of the parent. This is all about the hybrid vigor or hybrid. Now coming to the next term, that is the genotype. The term genotype was introduced by Johnson in 1911 and is the gene complement or genetic constitution of an organism or of an individual with regard to one or more characters, irrespective of whether the genes are expressed or not. For example, the genotype of hybrid tall plant is capital T, small t, and the genotype of the pure tall plants is capital T, capital T. The genotype of dwarf plants is small t, small t. Coming to the next term, that is the phenotype. The term phenotype was again introduced by Johnson in 1911 and is an observable or measurable distinctive or functional characteristic of an individual with regard to one or more characters, which is a result of gene products brought to expression in a given environment. Or simply we can say any observable or measurable distinctive or functional characteristic of an individual is called as the phenotype. This phenotype may be visible to eye. For example, the height of the plant, color of the flower, they are visible to the human eyes, or this phenotype may require special test for its identification. For example, the phenotype of blood group requires the serological tests. So serological test for blood group requires a special test for the blood group phenotype requires a special test for its identification, that is the serological test. And for recessive genes, the phenotype is similar to the genotype. You can see here, in case of recessive, if we will say the Devar plants, the genotype is small t, it is their phenotype is also their Devar. So in case of recessive genes, the phenotype is similar to the genotype, while as in case of the dominant genes, the phenotypic expression can be due to its homozygous genotype or heterozygous genotype. The genotype in case of hybrid tall plants is the capital T small t, while as the phenotype of the pure tall plants is again the capital T. So this is all about the phenotype. Next term used in the genetics is the genome. Genome is the entire genetic set of a prokaryotic or virus, but haploid genetic set of an eukaryotic. The entire genetic set of prokaryotic or virus or the haploid genetic set of an eukaryotic organism is called as the genome. Next is the gene pool. The sum total of all the genes and their alleles present in an interbreeding population is known as the gene pool. So all the genes or aggregate of all the genes and their alleles present in an interbreeding population is known as a gene pool. Subscribe and share bio classes online. Thank you.